So you've probably heard that emotions and trauma can get trapped in the body, but how exactly do you get those emotions and trauma out of the body? Maybe you've tried looking for those emotions through meditation, therapy, yoga, etc., only to wonder how you're supposed to actually find them in order to release them. In this video, I'll share a simple practice that can help you locate and release stuck emotions and trauma in the body. But I have a question for you. Do you ever feel like those trapped emotions are hiding from you? Well, they probably are. See, there's a reason they got suppressed and trapped in the body in the first place. Now, my belief about trauma is that it's not what happened to us, it's not the event or events themselves. Trauma is the disconnection we experience from ourselves and from our body when an experience we're in feels too painful or too overwhelming to remain present for. So we cut ourselves off from the experience, we suppress the emotions and maybe even the memories, we dissociate from our body and develop coping mechanisms to help us avoid feeling the pain in order to survive the experience. But as a result, we're not living as our authentic selves. We're cut off from our wholeness and living in a state of mind-body disconnection. Now, in case you're new here, my name is Alicia Celeste, and I know from experience how scary and painful it can feel to feel traumatized and trapped inside a tortured body or a tortured mind that you don't understand or know how to help. And for me, talk therapy and other traditional methods of addressing trauma like meditation, personal development, etc., never really helped me feel better in my body or change how I was wired. When I learned about the mind-body connection, how the subconscious lives in the body and dictates 90 to 95% of our behaviors in life, I knew I would dedicate my life to learning and teaching about how to heal ourselves, rewire, and renew from the inside out, starting with our tissues and our nervous systems, where all of those patterns and memories live. And I'm on a mission to destigmatize trauma and share what I've learned about how to process pain and trauma out of the body so we can live our lives as whole, sovereign, free human beings. And I've become obsessed with fascia, otherwise known as connective tissue, because it is the only element in the body that touches all other elements like our nerves, muscles, bones, blood vessels, and organs. Every single brain-body communication happens via the fascial system. All of our nerves communicate through the gel-like structured water inside the fascial system of the body, and our neural pathways are created there. Fascia also has its own memory bank, separate from the brain, and it responds faster than the brain to signs of danger to protect us. So what does this have to do with trapped emotions in the body? Well, we often think about emotions as these purely heady concepts of happiness, joy, sadness, anger, etc. But emotions are meant to be felt, and we feel emotions in our body. We don't feel them in our minds or our heads. Feelings are made up of emotions and sensations, and those feelings are felt in your fascia and nervous systems primarily. This is how we sense ourselves, our world, our bodies, and our emotional states, whether we are safe or in danger, and it's how we make sense of life, literally. Fascia responds to everything that we sense physically and emotionally and environmentally. For example, fascia has been known to thicken in response to fear, and it can contract independent of muscle tissue to protect us if it senses that we are in danger, even if that is an unconscious experience. This is why many of us with a history of trauma also have a lot of physical pain, because if we haven't resolved those past events, they keep replaying in the present moment subconsciously. We keep reliving those dangers over and over subconsciously or in the body, which creates dense, knotted up fascia as our bodies armor up to protect us. This in turn restricts blood flow, constricts muscle tissue, and causes all kinds of head to toe pain. So how do we heal? How do we move the past, including those emotions, out of the body? Well, one of the best ways I know to find those stuck emotions is to get in touch with our senses and the sensations here in our bodies. It's a lot easier to find sensations and nervous system patterns living in your body than it is to go looking for emotions. You probably know this is true if you've ever tried to do that. When you wake up your sensations or senses, you wake up those slumbering emotions, the ones you had to suppress at one time to stay safe and survive certain experiences. Fascia release can also rewire your neural pathways because they live in the body, which I'm going to be talking more about in the future on this channel. So if this is something you want to learn more about, then please let me know in the comment section below, because I always want my videos to serve you. So before I share this practice with you today, I do have a little bit of a warning. This isn't meant to actually make you feel better or more calm, at least in the short term or in the moment. Healing trauma and releasing stuck emotions from the body can feel uncomfortable or scary. And you may notice a lot of resistance in your body or your mind. In my experience, real healing, the kind that actually lasts, can be incredibly uncomfortable, physically, emotionally, and mentally. We have to confront parts of ourselves that we've buried until now. We have to feel those painful feelings we weren't ready to feel until now. We have to let our conditioned ways of being go and be willing to actually consciously create our lives and inhabit our bodies in new ways. We all have our own healing pace, so please honor where you are at today and every day. So the practice that I want to share with you is really simple. You're going to grab a foam roller or a ball and begin slowly exploring your body with fascia release movements. Now you can do this with any body part, any technique that I have here on the channel, and there are a lot to choose from. I recommend something like your quads, or maybe your quad hip flexors, your calves, if we're talking lower body, maybe your inner thighs, your adductors, or your lats, your chest, or your neck if you want to explore your upper body. But really, you can do this with any body part, any technique, and I'll leave some links in the description box below if you're unsure where to start. So your intention is not actually to release fascia though, it's simply to feel. So you may have to adapt what you're doing if you're following a technique video of mine, because the goal is to become a hunter of sensations, a hunter of feelings, an explorer of your own body. And you want to do this slowly, very deliberately, consciously. Maybe even stop moving and simply rest your body on the roller and notice how that feels. At first, you will probably only feel sensations. And that is a great starting point because the goal is to feel them fully, even the painful sensations. And if you're like most people, you may have a hard time simply being present to all that you feel here in your body. Some of your coping mechanisms or patterns might get triggered when you do this, as your nervous system jumps into action to protect you from feeling anything painful hiding in your tissues. You might feel scared, annoyed, angry, or indifferent. You might feel a lot of resistance or notice your body quivering or tensing up against the feelings. Your mind might take over as you start to dissociate from your body. Maybe you're starting to think about what you want to have for dinner, or you're telling yourself a familiar story that justifies your old paradigm or tries to convince you to maybe stop what you're doing, right? Is it okay? Am I going to hurt myself? Now, some people feel numb or go into enduring mode. That was me. When they do fascia release, because maybe you've learned to numb your senses along with your emotions, or you've learned to endure pain. So if you notice any of these reactions, your goal is to become conscious of those patterns. That resistance you feel or the reactivity you're noticing in your nervous system is that subconscious conditioned way of protecting yourself from painful feelings that you learned earlier in your life during those events. And as Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. We can't heal anything that remains in the subconscious. So healing means bringing it out of the body into consciousness. And when you make these patterns conscious, you can change them and begin to direct your fate. So remember, this is going to be a practice, meaning it may take practice before you feel the emotions that need to be released. It may take practice to love and accept and be with all that you actually find here in your body, and to let the painful stuff go by feeling it fully. So change is uncomfortable. It often feels scary to the nervous system, and releasing emotions is change, right? You're changing from living with armor on and protecting yourself from those feelings to taking it off and being willing to feel. One thing I want you to keep in mind as you do this is that slowing down your movements reveals what's here, while fast movement will keep things hidden. So always move slowly and deliberately. And maybe an emotional release will happen, maybe not. Either way, it's okay. The really cool thing about working with the body in this way is that if you're willing to actually feel your sensations fully, you may not need to have an emotional release to actually move those stuck emotions out, because feeling all that our bodies have carried for us at a sensory level can often be enough, because those emotions and sensations are connected. So after you try this, please come back and share your experience in the comments section below. I know that it'll inspire someone else. And I want you to know that I've been able to move so much of my own trauma out of my body with these practices. And my hope for you is that you'll learn to trust your body, trust your senses, reconnect to your whole self, and begin to truly feel at home in the only body you have this lifetime. And if you'd like to see more content from me about how to heal trauma from a body-based perspective, then definitely let me know in the comments section below. And if you got value from this video, then I'd really appreciate a thumbs up here. And if you're new, then I encourage you to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified when new videos of mine are posted. Thank you so much for watching this, and I'll see you next time.